Named after the famous peninsula near Travemünde, Germany, where the four-masted barque Passat is now moored, the Priwall was a German four-masted barque and the penultimate of the flying P-liners built for the famous Ferdinand Laeisz shipping company. Ordered in 1914, construction was delayed due to World War I. She was finally launched in 1917 at the Blom and Voss shipyard in Hamburg, but was not delivered to Laeisz until March 6, 1920. Ironically, this delay freed the vessel from being handed over as reparation under the Treaty of Versailles, unlike her sister ship Pola, which went to France as Richelieu. The Windjammer, with a steel hull made of riveted plates, was built as a free island ship according to tried and tested plans. For the saltpeter voyages from Chile to Germany, she was fast and robust enough to withstand the storms of the South Atlantic around Cape Horn. Like almost all Laeisz ships, she had a modern standard rig with split topsails and topgallant sails, royals above them, and the mizzen mast as a pole mast with two gaffs. The four-masted barque had a gross tonnage of 3,105 and could carry up to 4,800 tons of cargo. Like other Laeisz ships, Priwall bore the colors of the German national flag at the time: a black hull with a white waterline and a red underwater section. The outer walls of the midships bridge and the poop were painted white. She had no auxiliary engine and relied entirely on sail power, being towed into port for safety. On July 24, 1920, the Priwall sailed on her maiden voyage under the command of Captain Jürgen Urs, who later commanded the ship several more times, with 34 crew members and 200 passengers, to Valparaiso and other Chilean ports. These passengers were sailors who were to take the 8 Laeisz ships interned in the ports there back to Europe, where they were to be handed over to the victorious powers. At the end of August 1920, Captain Urs also paid a visit to Santa Cruz de la Palma, where he had moored with the Pamir from October 1914 to the end of March 1920. During the rest of the voyage, there was a mutiny among the on-board passengers because of allegedly too few provisions, so that instead of rounding Cape Horn directly as planned, the ship had to call at Montevideo first. There, part of the replacement crew then disembarked. Over the next decade, Priwall completed 13 round voyages between Germany and Chile, cementing her reputation as a tough and reliable saltpeter carrier. In 1926, the Priwall was converted into a cargo carrying training ship. Her tonnage increased to 3,185 GRT, and she now carried 72 crew, including 45 midshipmen. After the voyage to Chile in 1931, she shifted her operations to the Australia route, transporting wheat. Under Captain Robert Klaus, she made 4 wheat voyages between 1931 and 1935, including an originally unplanned race from Hamburg to Australia in 1933 against her sister ship Padua under her old captain Jürgen Urs, which she won after 62 days with a lead of just 1 day, a record at the time. In 1935, Captain Urs took command of the Priwall for a year for the 3rd time. That same year, she won the Great Grain Race by sailing from Port Victoria to Queenstown in 91 days. During the 1937-38 voyage, artist K.H. Nibel, aboard as a passenger, described the noisy Gnome internal combustion engine used for the ship's winches as a stinking, noisy monster that made the ship tremble. These engines had been in use since the 1890s, a testament to Laeisz' early adoption of the technological innovations. In 1938, under her last Laeisz captain, Adolf Haut, Priwall achieved a legendary feat. She rounded Cape Horn from east to west in a record-breaking 5 days and just under 14 hours, a time never surpassed by any other sailing vessel. She crossed the 50th southern parallel in the Atlantic, heading south at around 1 a.m. on October 31st, and reached the equivalent point in the Pacific, heading north at 2 p.m. on November 5th. After returning to European waters, she set sail on May 16, 1939, for her last voyage under the Laeisz flag. She reached Cape Horn on July 21st, but encountered severe storms, delaying her arrival in Corral, Chile, until August 8th. After repairs in Talcahuano and a final journey to Valparaiso, Priwall was interned on September 3, 1939, following the outbreak of World War II. A journey home across the Atlantic, which was controlled by the British, was impossible. In 1940, Priwall survived the devastating Chilean northerly storm known as El Nortazo, while anchored in Valparaiso. Many ships were destroyed. To prevent her confiscation by the Allies, the German government donated the ship to Chile on May 23, 1941. Renamed Lautaro after the 16th century Mapuche leader, she was incorporated into the Chilean Navy. She was fitted with a 1,500 horsepower diesel engine, armed with cannons, repainted in snow white with a black waterline, and became known as El Bello Cisne Blanco, the beautiful white swan. Her crew increased to 250. On her fifth voyage under the Chilean flag, while en route to Manzanillo, Mexico, the sailing ship, loaded with sacks of saltpeter, caught fire due to a spontaneous combustion on February 28, 1945, about 150 nautical miles off the Peruvian coast near the port of Pisco. At that time, saltpeter could only be effectively extinguished with saltpeter mother liquor, that is, saltpeter saturated water, in Spanish agua madre, which was not available. The foremast and mainmast went overboard, and the ship listed to starboard. 20 sailors, 7 of the regular crew, including the second commanding officer, Lieutenant Commodore Enrique Garcia Gonzalez, the others, mostly young cadets, died of smoke inhalation, burns, or prolonged exposure to the water. The annealed hull was to be towed to Callao by the Peruvian steamer Ucayali, but sank on the way there on March 8, 1945, due to water ingress through the heat-burst plates near the destination port, in position latitude 12 degrees 25 minutes 52 seconds south, and longitude 77 degrees 12 minutes 53 seconds west. The shipwreck was a national disaster comparable to that of the Pamir in Germany. On March 17, 1945, the then president of Chile, Juan Antonio Ríos Morales, personally presided over the memorial services in Valparaiso, which were attended by almost the entire city. In 1995, the crew of the training ship Esmeralda, while sailing along the coast of Peru, commemorated the victims by placing a wreath near the sinking site. In 2005, a large memorial service was held in Valparaiso, attended by the descendants of the survivors and their relatives. In 1989, the Falkland Islands honored Priwall with her own postage stamp for the fastest circumnavigation of Cape Horn of all time.